Kyle reviewed. Like and subscribe.
Hey guys, we got a video here. I want to go over a theory about Smallville and Crisis on Infinite Earth. So if you haven't watched it, you're not caught up, and you didn't see the Smallville cameo, leave now. We're going to talk all about it. But here we're going to jump into one of the big fan theories I've been seeing floating around recently. I just wanted to give my opinion on it and see as to where things go. But this is a theory as to how, if you didn't know, if you saw the crossover, you saw that he reveals that he gave up his powers and stuff. So some of the theories that people have been going on, he spent a lot of the season the show losing and getting his powers back and forth. And to me, the ending of the show was that he finally came to conclusion. He came to accept his powers. He finally gave into his powers, and not gave in, but kind of appreciate his powers and use them to do his destiny, which is to be Superman. So for me, the way they take away his powers doesn't really... I don't like the way they really do that, because to me they took away his stuff. Because yeah, there was a lot of times where he willingly said, I gave up my powers, or there's a lot of times where he would, it would be, oh, you have to come back and finish your training with Jor-El, or you'll lose your powers. And he chooses to save his people, his save Lana, save Lois, save someone around him, instead of going and doing his destiny and keeping his powers and stuff. And because of that, he loses his powers. So I get all that. I get the way where the writers were coming, especially since some of the Batwoman writers were actually writing Smallville. So it's nice to have them, take the lead and just kind of write this entire Smallville cameo. But one of the fan theories that people have been noticing here is that his watch is actually blue, has a blue background to it. Now, this does look similar to some of the watches that he had, that Jonathan Kent had, he gave him, but I think Tom Welling did in Smallville. He did bury Jonathan Kent's watch at the grave, a headstone of his grave, and he had there was two different versions that they used in the season of Smallville. One of them was like a black watch, the other one was a gray watch, but they were both kind of rectangular, not so much round. Whereas this does have the same, silver watch and brown band. That watch seemed to be a bit round, and if I can find pictures, I'll try and put some pictures up on screen for that. But the blue background definitely reminisces of blue kryptonite, and there was an episode of Smallville where he met a Kryptonian who had been living on Earth for decades and ever, and then finally just wanted live happy ever after with a family. So he wears a strap of leather with a piece of blue kryptonite on his wrist at all times to keep himself human. Now there is another possibility of how he lost his powers, which could be the many ways he did with like Jor-El and stuff, or actually the canon stuff from the comics, which would be something like gold kryptonite, which permanently takes away their powers. And I think that was used in Smallville in the actually multiverse episode with Clark Luthor, where he goes to a different multiverse where Clark Kent was raised by Lionel Luthor. So that could be something there, but I think it could be quite interesting. Now, if they were going to go with that blue kryptonite, this watch could be a part of it, but it just seems like they would have made a bigger deal of it, And if they were to go to blue kryptonite, and as I see in a couple of videos pointing out, they would have chosen a blue kryptonite necklace, just like the one Lana had in the very first episode. That was a huge plot line throughout the whole 10 years of Smallville. It kept coming back, was that green kryptonite necklace that was in the very first episode. That's even before he's even, actually just after he's used his powers, when he first gets to, the first introduction to Lana is him kind of falling in front of him, and then she says the classic line, "Hey, what are you, man or Superman?" Right? So I think it would have been interesting. He could have it hidden underneath that shirt, and I think they wanted to go, using blue kryptonite. Then they would do that. They would have it, the necklace, and he would have pulled it out and showed it off, right? But the blue kryptonite watch theory could be something that they could go for if they decide to, if they decide to have him come back later on in part 4 or 5 as some sort of endgame style, hey, I'm here to help, what can I do to help type thing. It was just blue kryptonite, I could put it back on, so he's able to help for the extreme, crisis, and then able to put the watch back on for powers. So I think that could be something interesting to see. We'll just have to wait and see. I'm not going to try not to hold the hopes for something like that, but I think the blue watch could be something indicator to that. We'll just have to wait and see. And I imagine it won't be long now until one of the writers or something on there, comes out and either denies it or confirms it. But just because they confirm it doesn't mean he's going to come back or not. So fingers crossed that there's always that slight possibility. But I feel like it's, if he does show back up again, it's like a 1 in a billion chances of him potentially coming back. So it's probably not likely at all. But let me know what you think, guys, about this in the comments below. What do you think about the blue kryptonite theory? I think there also was an episode about a blue kryptonite ring that he wore. I don't remember too much about that one off the top of my head. So let me know what you think, guys, about this. Do you think this could be a blue kryptonite watch here if we zoom in? Does that look blue? Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Okay, Kyle has a YouTube channel called Kyle Reviewed. It's about Marvel and DC. I happen to know a little bit about DC since my initials are DC. All right, so if you like Kyle's interviews and videos and reviews and everything like that, then like and subscribe. If you don't like them, well, maybe you're just not a comic book fan.